Today on TFL Bike, we are doing a range test on this, the Cake Osa Plus. This is an electric 125cc equivalent motorcycle. It is street legal. You need a motorcycle license to ride it. And it's rated to do about 52 miles of range. What we want to do in this video, in addition to testing out that 52-mile range rating, is see how this 125cc equivalent bike compares to another very popular 125cc bike. This is the Honda Grom, and it's the newest model of it, the 3rd generation, 5-speed. This is the best Grom that there is to this point. So we're going to see how these two bikes stack up as commuters.
So since we're starting this test at the office and we can't start at the gas station with the full battery, we need to bring some gasoline to top the Grom off at the office. So we're here at Sinclair, we're filling up this jerry can with some DynoCare gasoline where they add additives to help your engine run cleaner and smoother. We're also using the DynoPay app where you can get some big savings on gasoline, which is big right now when gas is super expensive. So let's get this filled up.
Now our plan is to run this Cake Osa Plus completely out of energy, which means Alex on the Grom is going to have to go back to the office and get our F-150 Lightning to recover the Cake bike and hopefully see if the Lightning can charge it on the way home. So because these bikes are going to be ending up in different places, we're not going to be comparing MPGs or anything, but what we do want to see is by the time that this Cake bike runs out of power completely, how much of the tank on the Grom have we used up?
All right, here we go. Cases on the Cake. I have the honor of riding the bright yellow Honda Grom. Old school gasoline style. Turn the key on, got a full fuel gauge right there. And I can rev my engine on my case.
So let me show you the starting procedure on the Cake. First you click the battery on, then you hit run, power up the screen. It takes a second and the screen is a little hard to see in the light, but once the power is on, you type in a pin, and now we're good to go. The bike is running, so it doesn't have a key. Have you ever wondered what is the coolest motorcycle ever made? Well, I have the definitive answer. It's this 1970 Honda CT70 that our good buddy Andy Smith fully rebuilt for us. Rebuilt engine, all kinds of new old stock parts on this bike, and we did an entire video series showing the rebuild and showing these bikes in action and what they're capable of. And very soon, this bike is going to be auctioned to benefit Biker Down, a charity that helps bikers and their families after an incident. So it's going to support a really great cause, and this is all thanks to our friends at Rider Justice. If you're interested in getting your hands on absolutely the coolest bike ever made, be sure to stay tuned because this is going to be coming on TFL Bids very shortly. Hopping on the road, let's give it some juice. Yeah, it's it's decently quick for being a 125cc competitor.
All right, so we are starting this range test at our office in Boulder, and right now we're headed out east to the town of Lafayette, which is still in Boulder County, if you're unfamiliar with the area. And we're really trying to see how well these do as commuter bikes. Both Case and I live in Lafayette, so this is a ride that the two of us take pretty much twice a day. Every single day.
Right now I have this bike set in ride mode 2 and brake mode 2. So that's the more aggressive regen braking, but the middle power setting. So that way I can keep up with traffic, but I'm not going to use so much battery, but I'm not planning to hypermile this at all. I'm gonna ride it on this commute the way that I normally commute. I'm gonna keep up with traffic and do a real world test of what it would be like for your average person trying to get around on one of these.
We're coming up on a pretty nasty bump in the road here. You've even got the sign on the side to let you know. And I bottomed out the suspension on the Cake a few times out in California. It didn't look too bad over that.
The seat is a little hard, and I think at my weight, about 160 pounds, the suspension rides a little hard here. We're about to go over some train tracks, so you'll get a feel. Yeah, so that's just a little bit bouncy.
All right, we're gonna do a little drag race here. Case doesn't have a clutch to feather. Oh, he's got me. Holy cow.
Oh, he got a much better launch there. We're neck and neck. But his shift, That's right. Yeah, that's pretty good.
We do have to take the highway for just about a block. It's less than a mile. I'm up to 64 right now after going downhill a little bit. And Case is holding speed just fine. We're about the same pace right now.
This Osa Plus is doing 65 right now, which is a lot better than they claim. 67. All right, it's flattening out, 66. It's hanging out at 66 right now on flat ground. 65, so it can do almost 10 miles per hour more than they claim. I think this is overall faster than the Grom.
So maybe drag racing wasn't the best idea, but like I said at the start of the video, motorcycles are meant to be fun. So if you bought a motorcycle and you're hypermiling it around, barely getting into the throttle, you're doing something wrong.
So we just pulled up to Alex's apartment. So this is a very realistic commute. This is exactly the ride that Alex and I do every day. And it looks like we're just over half battery after what the trip odometer is saying is about 10.8 miles. And granted, that is 10.8 miles on slightly faster roads, mostly about 45 to 50. And Alex and I were competing a little bit to see if the Grom was faster or slower than the Osa Plus. I'm happy to say that the Osa Plus is definitely faster. So far from hypermiling, but we're doing very realistic riding for what somebody would do with a bike like this. I mean, it's a 125cc bike. It's not like we're putting 100 horsepower to the ground, so going full throttle is well within reason on this bike. So that kind of riding, slightly faster roads and more aggressive on the throttle, appears to be draining the battery much more quickly. But now that we're here in our town of Lafayette, we're going to cruise around some of our local areas. We'll see if it can go even further with that kind of riding. I suspect it will.
So this is the town of Lafayette. Welcome everybody. This is where Alex and I both live, and it's a pretty great place, you know. This is kind of like what Boulder used to be before it got all expensive and lame. So there's a bunch of nice places. There's a cute shop down there that my girlfriend loves. There's a pizza place that's pretty fancy.
Looks like Case is giving a tour of town. This pie shop is great right here. Owner of that place has a pretty sweet Ducati, and there's some mountain rides, Canyon Riders Association around here. If you're local, check them out. They go rip up in the canyons, and a lot of times they'll go there for pie afterwards. It's a good time.
So we've done a little bit of around town riding, which honestly this bike is kind of perfectly suited for because it's so easy to hop on and just go down the road. If you're running errands on this thing, that would be perfect. And it's also doing a lot better on battery now that we're doing around town riding. So after 10.8 miles of riding, maybe 40-50 miles per hour average, the battery was just above half. Now we're just below half, and we're at 20.4 miles of riding so far according to the trip odometer. So the battery is dropping a lot less quickly now that we're doing more like average 20-30 mile per hour riding. So around town, much better off, but now we actually have to get on our way back into Boulder, which means fast roads once again. There's no way around that. So we'll see if it makes it.
All right, well, I want to keep it in ride mode too, and we're going to take the same roads back that we got to Lafayette on. So, not really sure what I expect, but, you know, if we run out, we run out.
Now that Cake Osa Plus doesn't have a range indicator where it tells you estimated miles remaining. It's just a battery bar graph. And I'm curious what happens when that gets down to 0.
Yeah, the battery keeps dropping.
I think he's getting real low. He's trying to give himself an aero advantage right now. Pretty low?
Nah, just like riding aerodynamically.
We're not all that far from the office. Probably another 5 minutes, but judging by the way he's scooting the bike forward like this, I'd say in the next minute or so he's probably going to be on the side of the road.
Oh, okay, I'm full pin on the throttle right now, and I'm getting little surges of power, but not consistent power. I'm trying to get up to 30. We've got a car behind us. 31, 32. This is so interesting. It's just giving me tiny little bumps of extra power, but nothing consistent. You would think it would be all on and then all off.
We better make it past this. This is not a good place to load.
Oh, I just felt it drop off. We're not maintaining 30 anymore. We're down to about 25. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna keep moving. I think we might be dead in our tracks. And I mean, we've got to be within a mile of the office. We are so close to our destination.
10, 8. Yeah, we're dead in our tracks here. So we did a total of 30.7 miles, and we were cruising around at a good clip. And now, I mean, a full twist of the throttle, and I mean, it kind of lurches forward a little bit, but it's not going anywhere. So Alex is on his way to grab the F-150 Lightning. We'll put this bike in the back, and we'll see if it can charge.
All right, well, I made it back to the office, no problem on the Grom, and as you can see, fuel gauge still showing completely full, so not a problem at all for the Grom. Right now, I'm gonna hop in the Lightning and load up a few things I need to bring him back here, and we'll go pick up Case.
Oh my hero. Wow, it's Alex. Look at that, it's the world's slowest recovery service.
What do you mean? I was running through the office.
Sure.
I was. I'm sweating. All right, so here's the charging box for the Cake. It's got a few indicator lights on it that lets you know if it's charging or if it's full and if it's powered on. And if we look on the back of the box here, we can see that max power input is 960 watts. So no problem for the truck. The big question is, can we charge while we're moving in the truck? So let's get it all hooked up, get it powered on, and see what happens. So the chargers are a little funky on these Cakes. You do have to plug them into the bike first before you hook the other end up to power. So we'll go to Pro Power Onboard, and it's on already, it looks like. Make sure the rear circuit is on. There we go. The timer is counting down right now because we don't have anything plugged in, so let's go hurry up and plug the bike in. And power and charging lights are on. So let's go see what the truck says. All right, so as you can see, we're pulling anywhere from 780 to 800 watts right now. It fluctuates a little bit. I don't think that's a fault of the truck. It's probably because the bike's battery is completely dead, and we know from testing a lot of electric vehicles that when you're really low on battery, it can take some time to charge up, and when you're really full, it can take some time, but the like 20 to 60% is really efficient. So definitely charging right now. It will let you drive with the tailgate open while the inverter is running, but I did have to okay a message here. It wouldn't let me out of park until I clicked okay. And we'll just keep an eye on the power meter up here and see what happens when we start to roll. Doing about 25 miles an hour right now, and we're holding 800 watts. I think it was last summer we did a video with Andre's Power Boost, so the hybrid version with the inverter, and we ran a 0 all the way down, rode it up to Wyoming, loaded it up in the bed, and we were able to charge it. Also, the Lightning will give you a little graph showing you where all the energy from your truck went. So on this trip, this 2-mile trip, 12 minutes since we picked the bike up, about 8-9% in climate control, keeping us cool, 50% in driving, 33% in charging the bike, and about 9% in external temperature, cooling the battery and keeping the truck in its correct operating temperature.
So all in all, we got 30.7 miles out of the Cake OSA Plus, and their city rating is 52 miles, but they also give a higher speed rating that's 22.4 miles of range. And we did a combination of both of those today, so the number 30.7 makes a lot of sense. This bike would be perfect for cruising around town, or if you have a short commute like Alex and I do, you could definitely commute on it. You just couldn't do a lot of additional riding. So if you plan to ride all day long, something like the Grom with a tank of gas that can take you really far and fill up instantly is going to be the more practical solution. The other factor there being that the Grom retails at $3,500 and this OSA Plus is $10,500. So new technology as it's coming out is always more expensive, and something really cool that Cake does is they make a lot of their own components, the wheels, the handlebars, as well as the chassis and everything else. So this is a beautifully constructed, really impressive piece of technology, but when it just comes down to the numbers, price, and range considering, the Grom definitely won this battle. Let us know what you think down in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. And if you want to see even more content on cars, trucks, everything with engines and wheels, go to alltfl.com. That's where you can find the rest of our coverage, and be sure to check out TFL Bids soon, because we have just the coolest motorcycle ever that's going to be going up on TFL Bids very soon. It's a 1970 Honda CT70 that our good buddy Andy Smith restored. Such a cool bike, and it's going to benefit Biker Down and Rider Justice. A really awesome bike that's supporting really awesome causes. Check that out. We'll see you in the next video.